Across Britain, hundreds of railway stations connected towns and cities with the wider world. However, in the 1960s, a lot of these stations fell silent owing to the passenger services being withdrawn. In the Black Country towns of Willenhall and Darlaston, trains continued to pass through these stations, but for more than 60 years, they would never stop. This changes today, however, as for the first time in 6 decades, I'll be travelling from Birmingham New Street station on the first ever train to stop at these new stations as passenger services are restored from this morning.
Platform 16 is the 0626 West Midlands railway service for the rails. The first train before as Darlaston and Willenhall comes through from 46B or the 0626 West Midlands.
Parkway, for the first time calling at Darlaston, Willenhall, and continuing to Wolverhampton, Bilbrook, Cotswold, Albrighton, Cosford, Shifnal, Telford, Oakingate, Wellington, and finally Shrewsbury.
As we're speeding away from Birmingham New Street station, let's take a look back at the history of this line and why we're visiting 2 brand new stations this morning. The railway running through Willenhall and Darlaston forms part of what is known today as the Walsall-Wolverhampton line, a historic railway linking the industrial towns of the Black Country. The route first opened in the mid-19th century, built to serve the rapid expanding industries of the Black Country. During this time, the region was one of the most industrialised parts of Britain, with coal mines, ironworks and manufacturing plants all relying heavily on the railway to move goods and workers. Passenger stations were built along the route to serve local communities, including stops at Willenhall and Darlaston, giving residents easy access to nearby towns such as Walsall, Wolverhampton and Birmingham. For many decades, the line was a busy local railway, carrying both passengers and freight. Here at Willenhall, the original station serving the town was known as Willenhall-Bilston Street Railway Station. It opened in 1837, making it one of the earlier railway stations in the region during the rapid expansion of Britain's railway network. Located close to the town centre, the station played an important role in connecting Willenhall's industries and residents to the wider railway system. However, by the mid-20th century, many local passenger services across Britain were seeing a decline in use. As part of widespread railway cuts in the 1960s, the station closed to passengers in 1965, during a period where hundreds of local stations across the country were shut down. Despite the closure of the station, the railway line itself remained open for freight and occasional passenger services passing through. Darlaston was originally served by Darlaston James Bridge Railway Station, which opened much later in 1881. The station was named after the nearby James Bridge area and served workers travelling between the industrial towns of the Black Country. Like many smaller stations across the country, it struggled to compete with the ever-increasing car ownership during the mid-20th century. Passenger services were eventually withdrawn, and like Willenhall, the station closed in 1965. Although trains continued to run along the line, the communities of Darlaston and Willenhall were left without direct passenger rail connections for generations. Now, more than 6 decades later, trains are once again stopping at Willenhall and Darlaston with the opening of 2 brand new modern railway stations. Today marks the return of passenger rail services to both towns for the first time in more than 6 decades. The new stations at Willenhall and Darlaston have been built as part of a wider effort to improve public transport across the West Midlands and reconnect communities to the railway network. For local residents, this means faster connections towards Wolverhampton, Walsall and Birmingham, while also restoring a railway link that many thought had been lost forever. Also, for railway enthusiasts like myself, it's a rare opportunity to witness a piece of railway history repeating itself as trains once again call out these two stations that have been silent for decades.
So we will be arriving into Willenhall in a few minutes. We just left Darlaston, which we'll check out on the return. I'm looking forward to this. This is station number 2591. I can't wait.
How cool.
So for the first time in over 6 decades, trains are stopping again at Willenhall station. This is absolutely fantastic. So this is Britain's newest, well, one of Britain's newest railway stations this morning. This is Willenhall, station number 2591. I'm gobsmacked at how beautiful this station looks. The build and the finish quality on this is absolutely fantastic. As up at Darlaston, I might even say I prefer this over Darlaston, you know. It's just touch and go, but I think this has just outdone it for me, you know. We're going to have a look around Willenhall station. We've got about an hour till the next departure through to Darlaston and back into Birmingham. So let's have a look at one of Britain's newest railway stations this morning, and let's try and find a cup of coffee, shall we?
What I'm really impressed with at Willenhall station this morning is that as we're heading round the ramp, every access need is catered for, whether that be the induction loop for hearing aids, access for passengers with wheelchairs, mobility issues, or just people who generally need an easier access into railway stations. It just looks fantastic. They've even thought of the little things like the EV charging port on the disabled bay. It just ticks every access box here, and it is just absolutely fantastic. As we head down the stairs and through the new station entrance, let's see what the platforms at Willenhall have to offer. The West Midlands trains route map has duly been updated this morning to show both Darlaston and Willenhall in their correct positions. There are a number of key card readers for the smart card, however these were being updated and were not ready in time for when the station first opened this morning. Heading up the stairs, you'll see that there are a couple of bench seats just next to the lift for the overbridge. I'll explain more about these later on in the video. Heading back down the stairs on the opposite platform, something immediately catches my eye right at the bottom of the platform. So it'd be rude not to go and check this out, so let's hurry and find out what this is. As we get to the bottom end of the platform, we notice a spectacular mural of the Willenhall station sign, perfectly in West Midlands Trains orange. So let's hurry back over the other side and go and check this fantastic mural out. After doing some digging, it turns out that the mural was done in conjunction with one of the local primary schools in Willenhall, and it is their representation of what best fits Willenhall itself and also the industrial past of the West Midlands. This is just fantastic.
Everything about the station just oozes freshness, oozes just that comfort that you want whilst waiting sort of at a drab, dreary, rainy day. I don't think there's much more can really talk about Willenhall. I'm just gushing the fact that this is a beautiful station.
The service initially is going to be an hourly service. The stops at both Willenhall and Darlaston have been added onto the Birmingham Shrewsbury service, which is the local stopping service, especially in between Wolverhampton and Shrewsbury. It's also worth to note there are no Sunday services here at all, but with it being the West Midlands, the public transport beyond the railway is still absolutely fantastic. Let's continue the tour of Willenhall. There are a load of brand new posters put up for the first trains this morning, which looks absolutely spectacular, as well as the help point, and also an array of bench seating to ensure that there is plenty of seats whilst waiting for the train. The ticket machine is in full working order this morning. I had already pre-purchased my ticket, so I was able to print this off with the ticket on departure, and I can confirm that it worked absolutely as it should do. Now to the bench seating by the lifts. After having a chat with the staff of West Midlands, they decided to put the bench seats in at the top and the bottom of the lifts to ensure that people could have a seat whilst they're waiting for the lift to arrive. I must admit, this is going above and beyond, and it is absolutely first rate for the customers. I bet you there's one thing on this station that you've already missed. Well, if you remember when I talked about the history of this line and these two stations, you may remember that I mentioned that this station used to be originally called Willenhall Street Station. And just at the Birmingham end of the platform, you'll notice there's just a tiny nod where the station entrance is to the sign heading for Bilston Street. See, you've already missed it, and if I hadn't pointed out, you may not have noticed it on the station. So after a brief visit to Willenhall, this is station number 2592. This is Darlaston. Both stations this morning are absolutely fantastic in the sunshine. The sun is just pitching in at the right level just to create that ambiance that just makes these station openings absolutely fantastic. The stations are light, they're airy, they've got all the modern features you need. Here at Darlaston especially, there ain't no ticket office, but there is a ticket machine either side, and there's plenty of smart card readers, and also I believe they can read barcodes as well, so it might be that they can read the Aztec codes off the tickets. I haven't tried that one yet, but I've got one in my back pocket, so I might see if I can at least scan it and see whether they'll pick it up. You know, it might work, it might not. The lift on both platforms is absolutely modern. The station's light, the station's airy. I just can't stop talking about the build quality of these stations. They're absolutely fantastic. For now, we'll wait for the 7:46 departure, and we'll continue having a look around Darlaston Station, one of Britain's newest railway stations that is open this morning. And so on to the tour of Darlaston. As you can see, it is almost a carbon copy of Willenhall. Everything down to the colour scheme, almost the location of the ticket machines and the smart card readers, and also where the seats are by the lifts. It is just amazing to see that you can actually take one station design and move it on to the next and move it on to the next. I would love to see this as a blueprint for further stations in the West Midlands, because I think these are just fantastic. There's a ticket machine on both sides of the stations, one by the new entrance, and as you'll see, one down by the stairs. And and there's also smart card readers which again weren't working but located across both platforms. One thing to note was that we were getting the audible public announcements, however there were still some technical issues, and as you can see the information screens on the platforms were blank. However, the information screens out the front of the stations on the dot matrix were actually working. It's some minor tweaks, but I'd imagine that it won't take long to get these resolved and it'll just enhance the station experience. Tell you what man, there's just those little nuances, those little niches that just make these station openings absolutely fantastic. I noticed it at Darlaston where people were handing out little tote bags, and I thought, well, you know, I quite like branded tote bags. My wife likes branded tote bags, and I thought it'd be rude not to. As you'll see, they've got all 5 stickers for the new stations opening in the West Midlands area, including the 3 new ones on the Camp Hill line. And as soon as I dived into the bags, well, you'll see as I'm just showing you now, you've got everything from a West Midlands branded pen to a pin badge to a sticker for the particular station. And what I was really I was quite thankful for was the fact they've also done a local deal with a local convenience store where there's a £3.50 voucher. So I'm hoping they've got a coffee machine so I can go and get some caffeine this morning. Been rather impressed this morning. Hats off to your West Midlands trains. These 2 stations have turned out absolutely fantastic. Having a chat with one of the guys from West Midlands this morning, they did mention that it was a bit touch and go getting all of the red tape finally cut, but here we are, stations 2591 and 2592. This has been Willenhall and Darlaston. Let's head back for Birmingham New Street and we'll do a final roundup before heading home. Well, we have arrived back at Birmingham New Street station where the journey began early this morning. In between, we witnessed a moment of railway history as services to Willenhall and Darlaston have resumed after more than 6 decades. From the first departure this morning to arriving at both stations, we've witnessed a moment of railway history and it has been absolutely magnificent. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for our next great railway adventures. Stay tuned and I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care guys, bye for now.